Hi everyone, my name's Burton Cline, Ad Sales Manager, and welcome to this week's edition of Marketing Minutes by Scuba Diving Industry Magazine.
And I'm William Cline, publisher. And if you're a dive company out there and you'd like to get on this new series, reach out to Britton or I. We'd love to have you on the show. So,
That's
Britton,
right.
who do we got in today's show?
Yes, so today's show is going to be a special one. Joining us, we have Eric Douglas from Books by Eric. So, Eric, welcome to the show. We're stoked to have you.
Great to see you guys. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us today, Eric. Britton, Eric and I go way back.
That's right.
Years ago, we've done some projects together. But there's something special about this show. You know what that is?
What's that?
This is our 50th Marketing Minute show.
It's incredible.
50th episode
Wow.
as of today. Yeah, congratulations, Eric. You're on the 5-0.
I wish I'd had a bottle of champagne. Or
I know,
something.
right?
Streamers.
Yeah, we'll have Diet Coke when we're done here. Okay.
That's right. Alrighty. Well, Eric, just to kind of jump right into things, what was your motivation behind the Mike Scott series of thriller novels?
You know, I love this question actually. But when I wrote the first Mike Scott novel, I was actually, or the inspiration for it, I was on Grand Cayman, and I got this idea for a scene. And I wrote it down, and then I actually had to go back and write the beginning to lead up to that scene. But what I wanted to do is, as somebody who's spent most of their career in the dive industry, is like William has, I wanted to encourage people to understand the ocean, even if they can't necessarily go diving themselves or don't want to go diving themselves. I wanted people to love the ocean and be excited about the ocean and what's in it. So I tried really hard to make all the diving realistic. None of the 200-foot dive on a single breath of air kind of stuff. I mean, unless you're a free diver, but that's a different discussion. But you know, we'd seen all the bay watches and that kind of thing where people did weird stuff.
Totally.
And I just wanted to make realistic diving, exciting stuff, and get people interested in the ocean.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's great. So, who do you think your audience is mostly for these books?
You know, I actually get a lot of, I hope my diving friends and diving friends I haven't met yet enjoy them and like them. And I know they do, because I've had a number of people stop me at the DEMA show and buy them from me at the DEMA show. One of my favorites was a friend who walked up and said, "I want the entire set." So I sold him 11 books in one,
cool.
you know. And at DEMA, you know, for you to buy 11 books on the floor of the DEMA show, no. I mean, I don't know anybody who wants to carry that around.
Right, exactly.
But but I also I get a lot of people who are non-divers. I like and I hear all the time from people saying, you know, I learned a lot about diving, or you made me understand what goes on better. And they'll usually end it with, "But I'm never going there myself." Or you know, on one of the tension scenes, somebody will say, "I was holding my breath the whole time, hoping they'd make it." So I really like I like it when non-divers actually read books as well, just because I like to hear them get excited and maybe learn a little bit and understand a little bit about the ocean.
And you try to set them in real environments, right? Like places you've dove before?
With about the only place that I've ever written a scene that I've not been to was at the close of one of the books. There's a scene on Cuba, and I've never been to Cuba. Every place else, and they go from Grand Cayman to Southern California to Italy to
Turks and Caicos.
North Carolina. What's that?
Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos,
Right.
you know, so they go all over the place, and yeah, but fortunately from my diving career, it's all places I've been, and when I visited those places, I considered it location research.
That's great.
You go back to the hotel at night and make notes about what you ate and things you saw and that kind of thing.
That's great.
Wow, that's so cool. And I love the, non-diver audience as well, because I can only imagine that brings, not only storytelling, but also vital information that if you were to, even consider being a diver, I think that's really, important information to maybe carry in with you.
Absolutely.
But kind of shifting gears.
William and
Sorry?
Let me want to add one thing to that. William and I are old enough to. I'm assuming one of your big inspirations for diving was Cousteau.
Of course,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we're of that age where we saw him, and Sunday nights with Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau and all that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know that the industry or diving has somebody to really get excited about now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no big person that everybody looks to, and so I was kind of hoping that that this character, not me, but this character would become the next sea hunt type story that got people excited to dive in the 50s. I wanted to get people encouraged and start thinking about diving in the ocean.
And
Absolutely.
that the pop culture aspect of it is really spot on. If you, I have a whole file. I've got about 50 vintage ads I've been saving, and I've been trying to do something with them but you can't reprint them because they're copyrighted, and their copyrights last a long time on advertising. But I have ads for all the scuba divers: Marlboro, Seagram 7, Playboy. I mean, these are all
Really?
ads that appeared in mainstream media because a diver was so sought after. In fact, the Playboy ad is about how that their audience reaches the modern man, right? It's an advertising for advertising. I mean, and that their key market, and it's a dive instructor in a pool, and it's all illustrations. But I mean, there's so many different ads like that from that time, and it's all inspired by the Mike Nelson character because he was tough. He always solved the crime and got the girl in the end, and it became really part of pop culture. So you're right, that is so needed in today's. And unfortunately, as much as I love Discovery, Shark Week's not doing that.
Right.
Uh, that's I don't know what Shark Week's become, but it's not. It's certainly not getting people interested in getting in the ocean.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's right. But again, just to kind of shift gears a little bit, how would you market, or how do you market your books, and how can retailers stock and resell your books to their customers?
You know, probably the easiest way. Now, all of my books are available through a distributing company. If you have, and I can't remember the name of the company off the top of my head, but there's a distributor that they can buy them if they want them directly. If a retailer would be interested in selling my books, the easiest thing actually is probably to reach out to me directly, and because then I'd be happy to sign some or all of them and send them to them that way. But they are available through a distributor. Um, all of my books are actually in soft cover, in ebook and audiobook. So, but even if you wanted to sell as a retailer, even if you wanted to sell uh, somebody an ebook version of one of my books, so you don't have to stock the physical book, I can actually sell uh, credits or tags, whatever, however you want to say it, that somebody could buy an ebook directly.
Wow.
But yeah, so the easiest thing to do though, I always think it adds a little fun to it. Reach out to me directly. I'll be happy to sign them and then send them on, and we can and you'll be able to sell a signed book.
Because I think if retailers knew that they could buy, say, a bookshelf, and it would come that they could have for their classroom, and they could have, two or three copies of each of the books, they'd sell them.
Yeah.
I mean, they would sell because you as a diver, there's no dive content out there like that. And you have to, even to go to Barnes and Noble, you can't find it.
Yeah.
So
You're spending 15 minutes looking
yeah,
around in the
I
wrong
think
section.
you'd do really well if you might consider like having a landing page on your site specifically for dealers and
That's a very
wholesale.
good
Yeah, that's a
idea.
great
Yeah,
idea.
I mean, because like you
Yes.
said, and it's not very expensive to maybe look at these displays, the cardboard assembly displays that holds like maybe 3 books across and maybe 4, 6 books, and that would be a tabletop, and then you could have a larger one for a classroom that could hold
right.
several of them, and of course you send it pre-stocked. They just take them out of the box, assemble the
Yeah,
thing, and
that's a
stick them
great
up there.
idea.
So, which kind of leads to my next question: who or maybe what was the motivation behind some of your iconic characters? I mean, obviously Mike Scott was your first pioneer, Clive Cussler kind of character, moving through the ocean, solving crimes. And you had Agent A.G. West, then the Withrow Key series, which is Jackson Polly and Randy Little Bear. Talk to us about these characters. Bring them to life for us. Tell us where you got the motivation for the different characters.
So Well, okay. So the first one, Mike Scott, there's a backstory to that, and then I'll tell you kind of what I envisioned for him. Um, but the backstory, at least for his name, um, a dear friend of mine from high school and college uh, passed away from cancer at about 23 years old.
No.
His name was Michael Scott Burnsworth. So I decided to name the first character after him. People always ask me, is this you? No, and even the physical description of it is named after my friend Mike. And this, he's been gone 35 years now. But this was my way of memorializing him, from remembering him, and keeping Mike around. So that's the motivation
That's really
behind that
cool.
name, anyway.
Very cool.
Amazing.
And I'm sure this will come as no surprise to you. Some of the characters, Mike and Mike and probably Jackson Pauly both are really modeled on people that I know from the industry. Kind of, the sitting around the bar telling stories, and I think, I'm going to use at least part of that.
Like Neil Watson and Stuart
yeah.
Cove and Peter
Exactly,
Hughes, these guys,
all those guys. And so, and although Neil's done some things that I'm not sure are
You
necessarily
can't really
believable,
publish, yeah. That's so
But-
true.
but yeah, it's 25 pushing now 30 years in the dive industry that I've just talking to people and learning from characters. An old friend of mine, William, I think you know him, Steve Barnett.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Dan.
We were traveling together. We both worked for Dan at the time, and he and I were on Grand Cayman. I told you there was a scene. He took me out to the blowholes, and that's this when you read that Cayman Cowboys, my first book, that's the first scene that was written, was this story at the blowholes, a young lady being chased across the iron shore and getting all torn up. And but Steve took me out there, and Steve was a former photo pro on the island, worked for Kathy Church, and honestly, some of Mike's modeled after him and some of his adventures. But
Wow.
it's really based on people I know and stories I've heard, whether true or not, stories I've heard around the dive industry.
Well,
So
that's
cool.
fascinating. I mentioned Neil earlier. He was our first guest on our very first Marketing Minutes show.
That's right.
So 50 episodes later, it's back to
Tying back to Neil.
tying
We're
back
back to
Neil.
Neil.
Yeah, back to Neil. Well, Eric, thanks for being on our show today. We have 91 days to the DEMA show.
Closer.
I assume you're going to be there. You're going to have a booth there, perhaps. Okay.
Thinking about the booth. I've also always hung out with Greg Holt. So
Oh yeah,
with
Greg's
Scuba Radio.
Greg is a great friend of ours. He co-produces our other podcast, Level Up, that we do every month,
That's right.
which is about a deep dive
So
into the
so
magazine.
I may be hanging out with him.
So listen, if you're a retailer out there, you're a dive instructor, you're a resort, a liveaboards especially, because people have nothing to do on a liveaboard.
Yeah.
Not like they can sit around and watch YouTube, shorts or anything. Go see Eric, because you should put a whole entire library. Maybe make a deal with the Wayne over there at Aggressor and outfit all 32 of his boats with your books. It's a
Definitely.
great idea, Eric.
Definitely.
If you don't know him, I'll make an introduction. He's a heck of a nice guy.
I don't actually. So no, I'd appreciate that introduction. No, this is
Yeah,
a great idea.
not a problem.
I'm gonna have to hire you to do my marketing.
You're so funny. Oh, great, Eric. It's so great to have you on. And look for us at the DEMA show. We are going to be doing live updates every day from the show floor, so we'll have them
Yes.
back on.
We'll need to update
Yep.
our friends on the show floor with what you're doing.
That's so cool. So, Britton, who do we got lined up for our next marketing minutes show?
That's right. So next Marketing Minutes show, our special guest is going to be David Burrows, the sales manager for Hewish Outdoors. And if I can recall correctly, he's actually an old friend of yours. So it should be a very interesting conversation.
Goes way back to Neil Watson. He was his dive manager at Xanadu, his dive shop in Freeport.
Wow.
In the 90s. So yeah, a long time ago. So we also, as I mentioned, on our last show, we have a new series we started up. It's called Level Up from Behind the Counter.
That's right.
And it's a retailer to retailer discussion. And we've had 2 episodes so far. We had Jeff
Rich
Sarin.
and Jen.
We had Rich and Jen from International Scuba here, and then we had Jeff Sarin-Pino, which just sold his scuba shop. And next week we're having
Yes. Next week, we're going to have Michael Connors and Rachel Scott, the new owners of American Dive Zone in Grand Rapids. And they're going to be talking about their their experiences in buying a dive shop. So stick around for that. It should be a really, really awesome, great show.
Yeah, they're a fascinating couple. They're both professionals from New York. They decided just one day they wanted to own a dive shop.
Just out of the blue.
Great story. In fact,
Really
they wrote an
interesting.
article in their July issue all about
That's right.
how they got started. So
Yeah.
that's going to do it for us today. Eric, thank you again for being here. Say hello to Mike Scott for us.
That's right.
Will do. Talk to you soon, and I appreciate it.
Our pleasure.